Hi, this is Justin with Vayu Yoga. Thanks for joining me. Today we're going to go through about a 30-minute yin practice. And of course that means we'll be spending a little bit more time in each of the postures. And while you don't need to use anything in the way of props if you'd rather not, if you would rather, feel free to grab a block or pillows or blankets. Any combination of any amount of support that might help you be more comfortable in your practice today. So, take a moment, gather what you might need. Let's get started. Okay, so we'll come to a comfortable seated position. You can let the shoulders drop down the back. We're just going to turn our attention to our breathing. And initially, we don't need to change anything about how we're breathing. We're just simply paying attention to how it feels to breathe. Keep your spine gently lengthening. And then perhaps begin to gently elongate your breath, letting it get a little slower, a little deeper, but nothing forced. Just another breath or two. Good. And then from here, we'll make our way into our first posture, which will be caterpillar pose. So we'll let the legs come out straight in front of us. And then we'll kind of walk the hands down along the legs, softening the upper body toward the feet. And as I said at the beginning, you don't need to use any props or support here. However, if you would like to, you could place some pillows or blankets across the tops of your legs, supporting the upper body or your forehead, and just allow gravity and time to dictate depth for your practice today. And for most of the poses, I'm going to leave you in a bit of a quiet space, but to get a few little important bits out of the way at the beginning here, if you should find that sensations increase in intensity to the point of pain, you're going to want to come out of the posture. Hopefully that's obvious, but you never know. The other reason one might move once we're in one of these poses today would be if the sensations begin to fade and intensity lessens. Then perhaps you actually physically move yourself a little bit deeper. But otherwise, we're aiming to just find a place of soft stillness for the duration of the holds. Another reason you might back out of a posture would be if you begin to feel any tingling, pins and needles sensations. It's usually a sign you're compressing a nerve, and we're really obviously not trying to do that either. So if you feel any of that, just take yourself out of the pose. You can always come back in. We'll be here another 5 breaths or so. And then we'll slowly start to make our way back upright. So we'll take our time. There's no rush in coming out here. So little by little, over the course of a couple of breaths, just slowly, slowly coming back upright. And making our way into our next posture, which will be sort of a half straddle. So we'll start out with both legs coming out to a wide position. We'll bend the right leg, bring the heel in as much as it's willing, line the upper body up as if we were going down between wide legs, and we'll fold down the midline here. And again, whatever amount of support you might be inclined toward using, you can set that up on the floor in front of you to support your upper body, or again, maybe a little something under your forehead. And we'll turn it over to time and gravity. And with the yin practice, we're looking to find the edge in each of these postures. We're not looking to hurl ourselves over the edge. We want to kind of nuzzle up to it and stay with it. See if we can gradually move the edge over time. Not necessarily over the time of the stay in any of these poses today. And about 5 more breaths here. And we'll begin to slowly make our way back up. Again, just taking our time. There is no rush. Little by little. And then we'll straighten out the right leg. We'll take the left leg out wide, and then bend the left knee, drawing the heel in, and lined up as if we were folding between both legs being out and wide. We'll bring the upper body forward and soften either onto pillows, blankets, stacked crossed hands. And we'll give ourselves time here on this side. Always keep an internal eye on your breath. We want to make sure that we're breathing smoothly and steadily. If the breath gets choppy or strained, it's a pretty good indicator that we're a little too deep in any of these poses. So continually check back in. And again, if there's any pain or tingling, you'll want to back out If sensation has faded, you might want to move a little deeper in. And otherwise, we'll just sit with the unfolding of the posture. Another 5 breaths or so here on this side. And again, slowly making our way up. We'll take our time. We don't want to rush out of these poses. So let the exit be mindful. We'll bring the left leg back to straight. And we're going to pivot around to come to our hands and knees here. We're going to do a few cat-cows just to get some movement into the rest of the body. So hands under the shoulders, knees under the hips. And with an inhale, we'll bring our gaze forward as our tailbone lifts a little bit. Our exhale, we'll tuck the tail, tuck the chin, and round the back. Again, inhale, we let the ribs feel like they're dropping, tailbone lifting, gazing up. And with our exhale, we tuck and round. And one more time, we'll inhale, gaze forward or up, tailbone rises. Exhale, rounding the back. Inhale to a neutral position. And we'll come from here into our next posture, which will be pigeon. We're going to draw the left knee towards the left wrist, and then pivot the foot out to the right a little bit, lifting the right knee and setting it back to shift the right leg back a little bit. And then we'll walk the hands back towards the hips just a little. We're going to take a few breaths here in a more upright position. How high upright is entirely up to you, but just focus on your breath. Take a couple more here. And then we'll begin to walk the hands out forward, bringing the upper body down over the left leg. Again, perhaps onto blanket, pillow, or your crossed, stacked hands. And we'll turn it back over to time and gravity. Always paying attention to our breathing. The body should be softening into these poses. We shouldn't be rigid in an attempt to reach any particular depth. And we'll be here about 5 more breaths. And coming out, we'll take our time, shift the weight back into our hands, and begin to slowly walk the hands back toward the hips, bringing ourselves back upright. And we'll shift weight into the hands, We'll curl the right toes, lift the right knee, and shift the hip forward. Drop the right knee down. And we can slide the left leg back. And we'll switch sides here. Take the right knee up towards the right wrist. Send the foot out over to the left. Lift the left knee and shift back. Place the knee down. Place the top of the foot down and kind of walk the leg back a little bit more if there's space to do so. We'll bring the hands a little closer to the hips to bring the upper body a bit more upright and begin upright on this side as well. Just a couple more breaths here. And then we'll start to walk the hands forward. And maybe coming down onto pillows, block, blanket. Any amount of support you might be inclined toward. We soften the body, steady the breath. And again, if sensation has faded, you might shift a little bit deeper into the posture. Otherwise, we're just enjoying the unfolding. And about 5 more breaths on this side. And again, we'll slowly make our way up, bringing weight into the hands and little by little walking the hands back towards the hips, bringing the upper body further up. And we'll curl the left toes under, lifting the left knee and shifting the hips forward. Place the left knee down and we'll send the right leg back. So we're back to all fours and we're going to drop the hips towards the heels to sink into child's pose just for a few breaths here. Not quite as long a hold as we had in the other poses. So let the body soften. Keep the breath steady and rhythmic. Maybe 2 more breaths here. Then we'll come back up to all fours and we'll slide right into our next posture, which will be Sphinx Pose. So we're going to lower the hips and the abdomen and the ribs down toward the mat. Slide the forearms forward so the elbows come underneath the shoulders. Palms gently press into the floor. You can let the shoulders slide down the back. And then from here, if you would like, you can separate the feet a bit. That will increase the gentle compressive feeling in the low back. So if it's already feeling quite compressed for you with the feet together, separating them is only going to intensify that. So perhaps not for you today, or maybe even wider still. your body, it's your practice. You find the place that suits you. And always tuning back into the breath. And about 5 more breaths here. If the feet were separated, we'll bring them together and lower the upper body down. We're going to take the right arm out to the side with about a 90-degree bend at the elbow. Draw the right leg up along the side with about a 90-degree bend at the knee. And turn the left cheek toward the mat. We'll let the low back decompress here. Maybe 2 more breaths or so. And then we'll draw the right leg back down to meet the left leg, and we'll switch sides. Left arm out with a bend at the elbow. Drawing the left knee up along the side now. And the right cheek to the mat. And a couple more breaths on this side. We'll bring the left leg back down to meet the right. And we're going to make our way onto our backs here. So we'll just kind of roll over. We'll begin by lying flat on our back. Then we're going to draw both knees in toward the chest. You can wrap the arms around and give a little squeeze. Gentle hug here. Then we're going to take the left hand to the outside edge of the right knee and drop both legs over to the left. Let the right arm extend out along the floor, acting as something of a counterweight to help keep the shoulders down. And you can keep the left hand softly on top of the right leg. Softly being key right there. You don't want to be pulling the legs down. Again, we're letting gravity do the work. We want to keep breathing smoothly and steadily. About 5 more breaths on this side. And then we'll bring our back down to the mat, drawing the legs back in toward the chest. Another gentle squeeze, little hug here. We'll take the right hand to the outside edge of the left knee, left arm out to the side, and drop the legs over to the right. And soften. Again, if you're keeping the right hand connected to the left leg, just do so simply by adding the weight of the hand to the legs. We're not pulling. We'll turn your attention back to your breathing. Make sure that's staying rhythmic, even. We'll give ourselves about 5 more breaths here. We'll bring our backs back down to the mat. And one more time, we'll squeeze the legs in. Another gentle little hug here for ourselves. And release the legs. And let the legs slide down along the mat or the floor. And we'll make our way into a final relaxation posture for just a couple minutes here. And in this, we want to let go of any awareness or subtle efforts in the breath, right along with softening the body. So we let the feet fall to where they fall to as the legs relax and the hips release. The hands feel loose as the arms and shoulders soften. Relax the jaw and the muscles of the face. We want to just stay here in soft stillness. Of course, you could stay here as long as you would like. We'll begin to wiggle our fingers and toes around a bit. And we'll reach the arms up overhead. With an inhale, stretch out fingertips to toes. Soften with the exhale. We'll draw the knees in toward the chest one more time. Another gentle squeeze. Maybe a little rocking from side to side if that feels good. And we'll roll over onto our left side and just soften here for another moment. And when you're ready, we'll come up to a comfortable seated position, whatever that might happen to be for you. We'll bring the hands together. Let the thumbs rest gently against the center of the chest. Take a couple breaths. Well, thank you for joining me today. Namaste. If you enjoyed this practice, let us know. You can drop a comment down below. And of course, we always appreciate it if you would like, share, and subscribe. Thanks. We'll see you next time.